I live in Deccan, part of India. My family is a Sayyad family, which has a lineage going back to the Prophet of Islam. And we are believed to be the descendants of the Prophet. I've heard from my maternal side that my ancestors from the maternal side were Shia Sayyid people from Yemen, who migrated to the Deccan in India, Deccan region of India, about 4 centuries ago, 400 years ago. And from my paternal side, I have heard that my paternal ancestry dates back to the migration of Sayyid family from Baghdad, Mashhad, Isfahan, that area of Persia, about 1,000 years ago to India because of oppression and killing of Sayyids. Hindu kings wrote letters and invited us to India and gave us shelter after hearing the oppression to us caused by nobility of lineage. How true are these migration patterns? We have records that show migration of Sayyid imams to various parts of India, such as Lucknow, Hyderabad, Bidar, Kashmir, etc. Always grateful and thankful for India for letting us live here and settle here. All right. So we know that there are these old records, or at least stories passed down in families over generations, uh, of migrations from, let's say, from Yemen, from Baghdad, from Mashhad, from Isfahan. So Yemen is obviously south of the Arabian Peninsula. Baghdad is the historic capital of Mesopotamia, Iraq, right? Then you have Mashhad, Isfahan, etc. These are major cities in Turkey. Sorry, in in Persia, in Iran, right? So Yemen is Arabic, Baghdad is Mesopotamia, which is now Arabic. Then you have Mashhad and Isfahan, which is Persian, which is Aryan. So so these are the places from which clearly people did indeed over the past several centuries migrate to India and settle in India. And obviously, if that's happened, you're going to have stories passed on over the generations and families, right? But can we verify these migration patterns, these narratives? We know that there there has been historically proven, well attested migration from West Asia, various parts of West Asia, to India. Small numbers of people migrating and settling in various parts of India, right? But how precise are specific claims? That from my mother's side, let's say 400 years ago, there was migration from so and so place. How precisely can you corroborate that? Or maybe from my father's side, 1000 years ago, they came from whatever, Isfahan or wherever. Can you actually precisely verify that? This unbroken, and the claim of the unbroken descent from the Prophet of Islam. Can you confirm that in detail? You cannot specifically corroborate the precise claims, but the broad migration patterns are reasonably well known and well established. So if we look at, for example, we have, I mean, various genetic research papers do exist that kind of speak about this in broad terms. There is this research paper called Origins of the Indian Sayyad Tribe, a Genetic Perspective by Zahid Hussain, who is, okay, this is a Pakistani person, Government College, University Lahore. Origins of the Indian Sayyad Tribe, Genetic Perspective, and you can read the whole thing. So it does kind of confirm that, people in various parts of India, including the Deccan region, uh, they do have some ancestry from West Asia. Now, everybody who claims West Asian ancestry will not have it. Actually, it's a minority of people who claim West Asian ancestry who will have it. So, in the Deccan region, we have historically known that Persian and Arabic origin people settled in places like Bijapur, Golconda, Hyderabad, etc. Right? And obviously, if they settle from those regions, you're going to have some. And today's people today, the descendants today, will have a little bit of West Asian ancestry, but it definitely indicates there is a direct lineage that comes from West Asia for those people, even if only 3% of your overall ancestry today or DNA today is of West Asian origin. The rest will be obviously of subcontinental origin, but you still have a direct lineage. But so that is about the Deccan region. Then also you have clusters of Sayyid communities in Lucknow region and whatnot that came from maybe Iran or Iraq, that sort of place in West Asia. And in the Islamic societies, there were these genealogical practices for Sayyid families, where families kept detailed records of their ancestry, right? And the thing is that having Sayyid ancestry or belonging to Sayyid family, which means you are a descendant of the Prophet, it is a prestigious thing in Islamic communities, right? So sometimes these trees, these genetic trees or these trees of lineage that were written, they became tools of status. If you could show a genetic lineage or a lineage that traced all the way back to Prophet Muhammad, then it was very prestigious. So sometimes it's been known that some people would kind of sometimes edit that and make it make it work like that to become an elite person in Islamic society and so on. So it's known that we have some communities in India, uh, whether it's in the Deccan or in North India, where you have higher incidence of West Asian ancestry. See, most Indian Muslims have zero West Asian ancestry. Most Indian Muslims are 100% subcontinental in terms of their DNA. But there are specific clusters of people in various parts of India who do have known West Asian ancestry, right? So that is known, but you can't know for sure whether you are descended from the Prophet, and you can't trace it back entirely. That's the point. So if your family has passed down the knowledge of its descent over many generations from both sides, then I think you should, instead of trying to verify it, which is not going to happen, you should, I think, cherish it, right? That you know more about your ancestry than most people do. I mean, how many people in the world today know what their great great grandfather's name was, what he or she did, what he did, right? How many? 2 generations ago, you had 4 grandparents. 3 generations ago, you had what? 8 grandparents. 10 generations ago, you can do the math. So you have so many sources of ancestry, and knowing even one of those, like 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, it's a big deal. So you can't really trace it back. You can't really corroborate it. You can't really verify it. But it is known that you have clusters of population groups in India who have elevated West Asian ancestry compared to the rest of Indians who don't have it. So that's what I can say. I don't have a specific answer to you, but it is known through genetic studies. There are people in India who have West Asian ancestry. So maybe you are that. In that case, some of your ancestors did come from those parts of the world, which is fantastic. Yeah. So we also glad to have you. What can I say? Glad to have you. All right.